There we go. All right, cool. I wrote a bunch of new stuff for you guys today, so it's cool to see a bunch of people coming back. So I'm excited. So by the end of today's webinar, you will know who to talk to and what to say to take more listings, why you're struggling to get more listings, what the next best step is for you to start consistently generating listings in your business. I don't know about you, but I would be tired of the frustration of being great at selling homes, but not enough clients to sell homes for, or to, or with. I don't know about you, but that was super frustrating for me. I got tired of the stress of trying to find people who are ready to sell now or soon and convincing them to move forward. It's exhausting. And I got tired of the confusion and overwhelm about how to consistently find and secure new listings. I don't know about you, but it is, I mean, it's tough, right? This is a hard business. It's a hard business for everybody. So I know I've been there before. I started as an agent with no sphere of influence, no past clients, and no money to buy leads, which is usually where most agents die. I did not die. I stuck with it. And yes, it was absolutely effing hard for a long time. I finally mastered my sales skills and then got to a consistent 3 to 5 listings per month from cold outbound prospecting. Today is not just about cold outbound prospecting, so don't worry. Don't hang up. Don't close the window. Yes, cold outbound prospecting sucks. Then I mastered my marketing and advertising skills to generate warm and hot leads. So if you don't have the skill set to generate warm and hot leads, you have to rely on cold outbound prospecting. And I did that for a very long time. Then after I mastered that, I partnered with another agent, leveraged sales, marketing, and advertising to scale our real estate team to 650 transactions, over 650 transactions per year, and over 4 million in GCI per year. And for the last 12 years, my strategies have been helping committed agents produce over 60 transactions per year per person, and teams to hit up to 3,000 transactions per year. Don't get me wrong, you don't have to do 60 transactions if you don't want to. However, my point is, and you don't have to build a team that does multiple thousands of transactions, but my point is, these strategies work and they're leveraged by not only me, but by other teams and brokerages and agents in our market to achieve these kind of results. And I'm assuming that you are here because you're not sure who to talk to and you're not sure what to say to be able to take more listings. And I want to help you with that today. So let's start with who to talk to from the best to the worst. The best are hot and ready to meet, plan, list, and have a high degree of know, like, and trust with you. That should be pretty obvious. From there, we move down to people who want to sell soon. They have some questions. Maybe they'd like to make a plan. They have some level of know, like, and trust with us. Then we move down to want to sell soon, but they feel like they have most things figured out. They don't really care about planning that much, or they think they already have their plan worked out for themselves. They haven't decided on you yet. Maybe they're talking to other agents, they're shopping you, they're interviewing other agents, but either way, they're not sold, or maybe they're those kind of people that really want to negotiate commission and contract term and things like that. Then from down from there, we have people who want to sell, but they don't know, like, or trust you, and they want a cheap agent, or they just want to do it themselves and try to save the money. And in parentheses here, these kind of people just don't really value agents that much. They don't see much of a contribution that we make. They don't value us that much. And then from there would be people who are not selling. They don't know anyone, not interested in talking about selling or the market. So let me know if this is interesting so far. Is this interesting? Give me a yes or no. Good. Good. All right, so we've kind of laid out who to talk to, and obviously you want to shoot for the best. And you're like, no shit, Dale. Of course I want to talk to people that are hot and ready, want to plan and meet and have a high know, like, and trust. I'm not telling you this because you don't realize those things, but the point is, you need to be stacking this deck for yourself. If you just got your license today, right? You have no sphere of influence, you have no past clients, you have no system, you haven't built any know, like, and trust or rapport with anyone, then you're going to be at the bottom of this list. The only people you're talking to are the people who aren't selling, don't know you, have no plans, generally speaking. But the more that you're in this, you start to build this stack for yourself. If you can build this stack for yourself, the more that you have at the top end, the less time you have to spend at the bottom end, and the more deals you're going to do, the more listings you're going to take. Now, if we take this sort of hierarchy here and we apply it to the different types of lead sources that are available out there in the world, it would look like this. So, your nurtured list of sellers. Chat in for me. How many people do you have on your nurtured list of sellers right now? How many do you currently have? If you don't know, if you aren't taking enough listings and you don't know how many nurtured sellers you have, that is the very first problem that you have going on in your business. Okay. Then from nurtured list of sellers, we go down to, or they would have a high degree of know, like, trust, and they're going to be selling between now and 60 days. That's how I would qualify these being nurtured sellers, right? High degree of know, like, trust, planning to sell either now or within 60 days. That's the first people that I'm going to. So if you're like me and you want the most bang for your buck all the time, your next thing that you need to be doing is building your list of nurtured sellers. And I want to make a distinction between nurtured versus nurturing. Nurtured means they know, like, and trust me. They've been consuming my content. They've interacted with me. We've spoken. I've gotten a full discovery with them. I've built rapport with them. We're boys, right? Or we're tight, or whatever word you people say. Uh, and so the more of those that I can get, the better. That's nurtured. Nurturing means that they're on that path to getting there. I'm still working on them. I'm still trying to give them value. I'm still trying to build rapport with them. I'm still trying to engage with them. And they're a little bit farther out from being ready to even talk with me or do something. Then from down from there would be reaching out to your past client sphere of influence to find new seller referrals, right? That's the next best place for who to talk to, who to go to on your list if you were spending your time. Next one down from that would be pay it closing leads, right? Cash offer, distressed sellers. You can find these people. There are tons of companies out there that generate these leads and sell them to you. By the way, the first two, or the first one, a nurtured list of sellers. You don't need a high degree of sales skill to be able to convert those. As we go down this list, your sales skill has to get higher. Even with your past client sphere of influence referrals, you're going to need a little more sales skill to be able to ask them for, generate, receive referrals. And not every referral comes in hot and ready in the door, right? They'll come in with their own concerns about commission, their own concerns about contract, their own opinions about the value of an agent. And sometimes referrals want to shop you. They want to interview other agents. You have to have a sales skill to be able to deal with that. Then we move down to the pay at closing leads, cash offers, distressed sellers. It's competitive. It's a really competitive market. And you can either go about trying to generate these yourself, or you can buy them from the people that are selling them to you. Either way, you're still going to need a high degree of skill to be able to convert them. You can try to generate these on your own if you want to try to find the companies that sell them. If you don't know them already, there's a bajillion of them out there. The easiest way to do it is Google cash offer for my home, sell my home quickly. And you just start clicking on the ads that you see, and you will find the people who are spending the money to find these leads in your market. If that makes sense, chat in yes. Then what you do is you get on their list and they'll sell them to you and you start talking to them. Okay, down from there, for sale by owner and expired / withdrawn listings. If any of you are consistently working FSBO or expired or withdrawns right now, chat in me. Or chat in no. Chat in me if you're working them. Chat in no if you're not. Okay. Wow, there's a ton of people not working them. Okay, no worries. You don't have to, believe me. I basically built my business initially by working FSBOs and expireds. And what I can tell you is I worked them because I had no other alternative. These days, I would do every other alternative before working them. But let me ask you, why do you not work FSBOs expireds withdrawals? Chat in for me. I want to see the answers as to why you don't work them. Yeah, so this is a hot source. You can win listings from this, but it does require an even higher degree of skill. As we go down these things, it just requires more skill to be able to convert it. Then we have probate, notice of default for rent by owners. These, if you're not familiar with what these are, basically probate is somebody passed away and they have property that will likely be sold, or oftentimes there'll be a family member who doesn't want the property. Notice of default, somebody who isn't able to pay their mortgage, and the mortgage company is putting them on notice that if they don't correct the deficit, or if they don't correct, if they don't come current, then the bank is likely to take their property. So these are distressed sellers. And then for rent by owner, these are people, oftentimes, if they're solo landlords, a lot of times they get sick of owning property, or they want to make a new move, or they want to take that cash and put it somewhere else. Uh, Maybe it could also be people that inherited a property. They were a probate. They ended up renting the thing out, or they were an expired or FSBO, ended up renting it out, and they hate being landlords. And so they would potentially be interested in selling the property. So with probate, NOD, and for rent by owners, in a lot of cases, these are people who aren't already thinking, or I'm sorry, they aren't already listed. So they don't have a lot of people going after. They have fewer people going after them. It's more of a niche game. Then your nurturing list of sellers. Now, obviously, your nurturing list of sellers is going to be easier to talk to than probates or FSBOs, or even these cash offer distressed seller people. However, on this list, I'm going down from the most likely to transact or easiest to convert and convert sooner, down to the harder to convert now, if that makes sense. So your nurturing list of sellers, they're just not incubated yet. Maybe you can move one or two forward, and it's a list that you would go to. It's easier to talk to because you've already built rapport and some know, like, trust with them, but they just aren't ready yet. Versus the probates, FSBOs, pay at closing, these people oftentimes are more ready to go, if that makes sense. Then down from there would be your nurturing list of buyers. Believe it or not, a lot of sellers come from buyer leads, because 95% of people who think about selling their property start looking at property for sale first before they make a move, most of the time. So in a lot of cases, you get seller leads from the buyer leads that you're buying, PPC, social media, any of that kind of stuff, sign calls. Then the least would be circle prospecting, door knocking, and you can add to this absentee owners. Although absentee owners oftentimes will end up in the FRBO category, for rent by owner, but not always. So down here, circle prospecting, door knocking, the least amount of return on investment of your time that you're going to get. So if you have a limited amount of time, obviously you want to start with your nurtured list of sellers. If you don't have a good nurtured list of sellers, start today, right? And then work down from there. Now, here's the game. This is the game in taking more listings. First, you have to identify as many potential sellers as early in their process as you can. This should be a daily or a weekly activity for you. Then you've got to build more rapport and give more value than any other agent as they nurture toward taking action. This is how you build that list of nurtured sellers at the top. Then, with every one of these people, you have to be actively working to sell them into meeting or taking the next action with you before they think they're ready. So, frequently asked question, Dale, why do I have to try to get them to meet before they're ready? Isn't that too salesy? Was anybody thinking that? Chat in yes if you were thinking that. Dale, that's too salesy. I can't get them to meet with me before they're ready. I should wait till they're ready. Anybody thinking that? It's okay if you it's okay if you do. Uh, well, let me give you some arguments against that. Why would I say that you have to meet with them before they're ready? There's a couple of reasons. Number one reason is that 70% of consumers work with the first agent that they meet. The first agent they meet, which means in a lot of cases, if you are talking to a seller and someone is managed to be able to get that lead, your lead, to meet with them sooner than you, now you have an uphill battle to fight. Most consumers don't really care that much about which agent they work with as long as they get the result they want. How many times have you had that nurture in your system? You thought you had a good conversation, you built rapport with them, they're opening the listings from you or emails from you, and then you follow up with them one day to see if you can get them out to look at something or see if you can come by and take a look at their home because we're getting close to being ready. And they say, "Oh, great news, we already bought something." Or "Great news, we got our house sold and it sold for a lot of money." You guys ever had that experience happen to you? You guys ever had that happen? Chat and yes. Yeah. That tells you that most consumers don't actually care that much about who they work with, just about getting the job done, getting the result that they want. That's another reason. And then the third reason is that the longer a consumer thinks about or plans to make a move, the more people they talk to. The more people they talk to, the more other agents they get referred or introduced to, which means that the more likely it is that you are going to have to compete or even lose your piece of business. So you want to be the first agent of choice as early as possible. Does that make sense, everybody? Chatting yes if that makes sense. Good. All right. Okay, I get it. So what do I say to get potential sellers to meet with me now or sooner? The unscripted method. So let's go through appointment difficulty and reward. Your appointment booking skill level. If you're only able to get the laydowns, these are the people that are ready, right? They obviously want or ask you for a meeting. They're ready to go. They want to meet. Then we have people who are agreeable. They sound like they're open to a meeting. They sound like they would like to make some plan or learn some information or get some questions answered. Those are the agreeable ones. Then we have the neutral ones. These are people who have no clear need or desire to meet. And also, there's possibly another agent in the mix. You can just tell by the way that they're talking to you. Those would be neutral. Then we have the disagreeable ones. They are opposed to meeting agents, commission, or definite other agent. This is your FISBOs, expireds, withdrawns, etc. So these are the four different levels of skill difficulty that I see in getting appointments booked. If the only ones you can close are the laydowns, that you can that's going to get you to 0 to 12 units sold per year. If you are able to get the agreeable ones, the ones who sound like they would meet with you, if you can propose the meeting, get them to agree to it, that'll get you to 12 to 24 units per year. Neutral. If you can get these people, if you can angle your conversation with them to the point that they are willing to take a next step or have a meeting with you, that will get you to 36 to 48 units per year. Then we've got the disagreeable ones. When you can master this level of skill, where you can talk to somebody who is opposed to you, somebody who already has their plan figured out, or even dislikes agents and sees little to zero value in using us, and you can turn them into an appointment, that will get you to the 60 plus units per year. Some of you may not want to get to that level, and that's okay. I'm interested in this. Chat in for me. What number of units do you want to get to per year? Not where you're at now. What do you want to get to per year? What's your goal? To get these appointments, this is what you have to master. And when I think that for most people, the more nurtured database you can create of sellers will cause more laydowns for you. more laydowns, and more agreeables, if that makes sense. And then when you become really skilled at what you're doing in terms of your sales skill, you can unlock more easily your neutrals and then even your disagreeables. And, depending on where you're at and how much business you do, I'm not saying that you have to be a FISBO or expired god in order to do 60 plus transactions. It's kind of like the mixture, your own mixture of how good you are at marketing, how good you are at advertising, and how good you are at sales combined means that you can do 36, 48, 60, up to 100 units a year, depending on your mix with a certain, the higher your skills are in those three categories, the less hard it is, if that makes sense, to get there. The lower that your skills are in any of those three categories and the harder you have to work, the more difficult conversations you have to have. Okay, so let's talk about this. Let's talk about getting appointments. And this is a fundamental concept of the unscripted method, which really kind of underpins if you I can demonstrate for you why most of the scripts that you're using right now don't work for you and why you're almost the fact that they don't work for you is either causing you not to use them, not to make contact with those various lead sources that I just showed you, or if you do, you're just not winning. And in a lot of cases, it's because you're using really outdated real estate scripts that just frankly kind of suck. Um, and this concept here explains why a lot of those scripts suck and why they don't work. So these are real estate agents, right? Let's imagine that you are a homeowner and you're potentially thinking of selling your house at some point down the road. So these are real estate agents. They sell houses. They want to meet with you. Chat in for me. What is their purpose? If you are the homeowner, you're not thinking of selling right now, and one of these people asks to meet with you, it'd push you to move fast and take your money. Thank you, Brad. What's their intention? They want to come meet with you. They want to come to your house. They want to meet with you. What's their intention? Chat it in. You guys might be stuck thinking as agents. So the consumer reduces us down to these ideas. Your only purpose is to list my house. Your only purpose is to sell me a house or to get me to sign a contract or get me to commit to you. This is how the consumers think of us, no matter what our intentions are. To the consumer, listing agents represent being ready to sell and move, being ready to advertise their home, being ready to choose you as the agent, being ready to have buyers tour their home, knowing where they're going to move to next, having chosen the area or even the new home that they're going to be moving to. When we're talking to consumers, any kind of consumer, this is how they regard us. This is what they think of us. And they kind of reduce us down to that singular idea. This is why in a lot of cases, when you're trying to ask somebody to meet with you sooner, take an action sooner, talk with you sooner, even get on the phone with you sooner, answer your text messages and emails sooner, right? They're thinking, nope, all you want is to list my house. This is what you represent. I shouldn't mess with you until I'm ready to do these things. This is an important concept for you to understand. Because in order for you to get them to take that next step before they think they're ready, you have to change this. What do we want? Of course, we want an exclusive listing agreement for 6 to 12 months. Or, I mean, I would just like an agreement that they would pay a buyer agent commission if I bring a buyer, or I'm sorry, a listing commission, or buyer agent commission if I bring a buyer. Or I just want to help them plan their selling process, get face to face to build rapport with them. I want to, in a lot of markets, I just want to see your house for my own inventory knowledge. Because in a lot of cases, I can be a matchmaker. I can put a deal together without your property being on the market. I just need to know about it. I need to see it. I need to be able to market it to my potential buyers. And also I can just give you some free advice when I'm there. Or in some cases, I just want to window shop. Can we meet virtually or in person to actually window shop some of these competitors out here for fun or education? So any of these things we would accept because any of these things will help us move the ball forward, will help us build rapport. will help us be able to do some discovery, sort of plant our hooks in this potential piece of business. And, frankly, also make us known to them so that they do know about us as a choice sooner and they don't accidentally choose a bad agent. So here's some common appointment issues when agents are trying to get them booked. A lot of cases, you guys give up or don't ask at all, right? You give up too easily or don't ask at all. So I'm going to give you a challenge here. Every person that you talk to who's a potential seller, I'm going to challenge you to come up with something that you can offer and a way that you can position it so that you take a next step. And I would first start with the best next step, which is face to face. Next best next step is video to video. The next one from that would be a phone call, right? What can I do or what can I offer to you for us to get face to face? How can I make it make sense? If I can't do that, can I at least do it on video? If I can't do that, what should we talk about on the phone? That's the first challenge that I give to you. Here's another problem. A lot of times agents will close directly into an objection. That's not logical. Somebody says, I'm not going to meet with agents now. And you say, but can I come look at your house and tell you what it's worth? That does not make sense. You're closing into an objection. Your closing has to make logical sense when you drop it. Closing too early, right? If a consumer, or not if, all consumers, we all regard salespeople as having one purpose, which is to get us to do something or take an action or make a decision. If you close or you ask for that action or decision too early in the conversation, you tip them off and the game is over. The likelihood that you're going to get a second bite at the apple and they're going to go for it would require one, even at a very high sales skill level, the likelihood that you're going to be successful in that goes very low, if that makes sense. So closing too early really shoots you in the foot. You must close. You must ask for something. You must try to move the ball forward, but you want to wait until you can make it make sense in the conversation. Because if you close too early, you waste that opportunity. Selling past the close. So you guys may or may not know what this means, but or experience it or have done it. You ask somebody for a decision or an action and they say yes, and then you keep trying to convince them. That is selling past the close. And all you end up doing is giving them additional information to consider, which might trigger them, they may not like, or they may reconsider their decision and take it away from you. Burying the ask. So this happens a lot with people that do too much talking, especially salespeople that are like super high eyes. They will ask for the appointment or the next step, and then they just keep talking and, they get off topic or they go beyond it and they're doing more discovery or rapport. And what happens is the prospect doesn't even notice it, or they forget about it, or again, they just end up changing their mind. The flavor of the conversation moves along and can prevent them from deciding to take that next step with you. Most cases, everybody, when you make an ask, when you make an offer, you stop talking. That's it. Let this person decide. And you can even do this as a little experiment. Just wait. Just don't talk. I think I've only been called out one time by doing that, where I drop an offer or drop a price and then I don't talk. And I think there's only been one person that's ever called me out. And of course, I sell training to salespeople, so sometimes they pick that stuff up. And I think the only person that ever did that was like, so you're not going to talk till I make a decision, huh? And I was like, well, do we have one? And so they called me out, but otherwise nobody even notices it. When they close, another issue is no clear or compelling results for the lead. Why would a consumer risk meeting with a salesperson? Why would they risk taking a next step with a salesperson or interacting with a salesperson even further if there's no clear result they're going to get out of it? And a lot of times when I hear agents closing for appointments, they're like, oh, I can come by. We can talk about next steps. I'm available on Wednesday or Thursday. What result was that? talk about next steps, what am I going to get out of that? What does that mean for me? How does that benefit me? What's the result I'm going to get from that? It's too weak, if that makes sense. When you're asking I showed you like what we think listing agents mean. If you know that that's the threat, that they're likely going to try to convince you to do something or take an action, it better be a pretty compelling result that you're going to get for you to risk taking that next step with them. Uh, in a lot of cases, they'll have a not logical or no stated or implied need or want, meaning that the prospect that you're asking for a next step from has not said that they need or want or needed or wanted anything from you. In a lot of cases, agents will just offer to give it to them and ask them when they want to get it, but they don't get a confirmation that the person actually wants it from them. And then we have a readiness mismatch and the readiness mismatch and the logical, whether or not it's logical. These are the biggest errors that I see. Readiness mismatch simply means that the language that you're using does not match the thing they're thinking in their head. So if I'm like, oh my God, I need to get my house on the market right now, and you call me up and you're like, hey, Dale, I'd love to come to your house and show you exactly how to get it sold right now in this market for the most money possible. I'd say, wow, that matches what's in my head, right? But if I'm sitting there like, yeah, I've got time. I don't, we'll probably, it's, what is it, March right now? We'll probably be taking a look at this like in the summer. And you call me up and you say the same thing. Dale, let's get together tonight. Let me show you exactly how to get that sold right now in the market for the most money. That's a mismatch, right? That doesn't match. That's not what I'm thinking. That's not where my head's at. Not only that, but you're an agent and all you want to do is get me to sign something or make a commitment or make a decision right now and move forward with you, right? So of course I'm going to say no to that. In a lot of cases, that's what you're doing. You're using words that just don't match where the person is at. And oftentimes when I role play with new students who come into my company, they have one speed that they close at, and it's usually now. And frankly, their now close is not even that strong. It's not even that compelling. But they just don't have other gears. There's no other gear. They don't know how to downshift. They don't know how to persuade very well when it comes to the words. Okay, these are the issues with asking for appointments. Now, with unscripted appointments, I need to fix that slide. So offer. How can you position the next step or meeting so they get value and they don't get triggered? You do this with your words. How can you position for me the fact that you coming to my house does not mean that you're going to force me into a listing agreement? You coming to my house does not mean that you are going to pressure me into making a decision or choosing you or moving forward right now. How can you word it that way? Readiness. How can you change your language so it matches their readiness level, i.e. now versus soon versus later? If you just look at those three words, they, in a nutshell, will help you guide you on what you're doing. Now is super immediate. Soon means in a while. Later means down the road. And I just used more words to describe what they meant. The point is you have to have different gears that you can talk in. And then we have logical versus illogical. How can you steer the conversation so that the next step or meeting is logical for them and something they actually want? Most importantly, how can you get them to decide or tell you that they do want it or that they need it before you make the offer to them? And then objections. How can you help them self-discover that they actually are ready to take the next step that you're offering now? What I mean by that is if I say to you, hey, I'd love to come take a look at your property, give you an idea of what things you could do to help make it ready to sell for the most money when you guys get down the road and you're ready to actually put it on the market. If I say those things to you and your answer back to me is, we're not ready to list our house, it just means that you don't understand what I'm actually offering you, and you've put it into that box of listing agent. Listing agent wants contract, right? That's what you've done, and I need to work on helping you understand, oh, hey, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to list your property. And in fact, you might just list with somebody else whenever you get there, right? How can your objection handling approach help them understand what it is that you're offering and why it makes the most sense for them right now. That requires two parts. One, that you're using good words to be able to really make that disclosure or to point that out for them, and to not mislead them. And two, for you to be able to fix whatever's broken when they don't understand what you're offering to them or they interpret it in the wrong way. So all these four together will help you get more appointments booked right now.
Okay, so hopefully you guys found that helpful. What I know is that if you're looking to book more appointments and if you're not reaching your goals right now in sales, or you're trying to really push the envelope and grow your business, but you're finding it difficult, generally it comes down to three things for most salespeople. And those three things are the lead mix that you're working, the scripting that you're using to interact with them, to engage them, convert them into appointments, and get them to closing, and the offers that you're making to the leads and the past client sphere of influence that you have in your system. So if you want more help, you can apply to have a private one-on-one troubleshooting session with me where I'm going to go through those three things. What are your lead mix, the lead mix that you're currently working? Are you working what you should be, or are you leaving something out that you could include that is well within your strike zone and would be easy for you to convert? Or are you working something or investing in something that just doesn't make sense for you? And then what scripting are you using for these different types of leads at different stages? Whether it's past client sphere, open houses, whether it's referral stuff, whether it's purchased leads, whether they're portals, pay at closing, it doesn't really matter what it is. Every one of the different types of leads that you could be working have their own set of scripting and dialogue that you should be using with them to get the best results and book more appointments. And then what are you offering them? So we'll go through that together if you qualify to meet with me one-on-one, because I can't help everybody. This is not for brand new agents. It's not for agents who have zero leads. But if you are an agent that's full-time in the business and you've got some sales under your belt, you want to go to the next level, or you want to figure out how to get to that, consistent 1 a month, 2 a month, 3 a month, book a time with me. Let's figure out what's in the way for you. So thanks for your time. Thanks for joining me. Hopefully you got something out of today.